Topping the ball can be one of the most frustrating shots that you can hit as a golfer, but actually fixing it can be quite straightforward if you know where to look. Using GOLFTEC's optimotion system and some very basic training aids, I'll be able to show you today how to manage your arms, manage the radius of your swing, and improve your ball striking immediately. If you struggle with contact, you almost certainly struggle with controlling the radius of your swing, the arc upon which the club head travels. And that radius is really managed by the arms and the elbows. And I'll see the most common mistake in golfers each and every day, flexing both of their arms too much throughout the swing. And at impact, what that often looks like is the elbows pulled apart and the golf club raising up away from the ground, resulting in those frustrating thin and topped shots. So what can we do about it? Well, the first thing to understand is that your elbows and the distance that they're apart should try to retain or remain similar throughout the swing. And in order to do that, for many of you, you're going to need to feel like you're pushing or squeezing your arms together. I'm going to show you shortly how that looks on the GOLFTEC optimotion system. But suffice to say, for now, I want you to imagine that the distance between my elbows is constant both from the start of the swing, and even as I swing back, I'm trying to keep pushing and squeezing my arms together. Now, there's some change in the distance of the elbows, but unless you're actively trying to keep them together, I guarantee you that you're going to find they want to start pulling apart. And that can happen for a number of reasons, the primary one being poor body pivot throughout the swing and understanding how to move. So we need to train these arms to stay straighter. We need to train these elbows to stay closer together throughout the backswing, the downswing, into impact, and even into the follow through. And if we manage to do that, your ball striking is going to improve dramatically. Let me show you exactly how that looks between two very different swings, and then I'll share with you how you're going to be able to practice this in order to improve this skill. We take a look at the screen. We're using the GOLFTEC optimotion system, and there's two main measurements we're going to pay attention to today. The first one is lead elbow flex, or lead arm flex really, and that would be the measurement of the amount of bend in the lead arm. So on the left hand side, we've got a lead arm that's bent 18 degrees of flex, and the right hand picture we've got a lead arm that's much straighter with only 6 degrees of flex. And the second measurement there would be the elbow span, or the distance between the elbows measured in inches. So we've got 7.8 inches there on the right hand side, and we've got 10.2 inches on the left hand side. The relevance of these measurements is such that you're looking to keep the lead arm pretty much as straight as you can throughout the swing with some minor movement in that flexion. And then the distance from the elbows should be pretty similar, not just at the beginning of the swing, but also at impact. And we're looking to maintain that number as close as possible throughout the swing. The poorest golfers would see those numbers fluctuate the most. So before we even start moving these swings back and seeing what happens to the arms, I'd point out that the poorer players would tend to have their elbows further apart at setup than the better players. And in this right hand picture, which is my after swing, you'll also notice that I have a small ball here between my arms. It's one of the best training aids that you can possibly utilize in terms of improving arm structure and managing the radius of your swing, is putting a ball or something between your forearms and actively squeezing and holding that there. We'll get into that a little bit later, but you can see even at the setup here how the arms in the beginning are a different configuration, and the best players would tend to have their arms closer together rather than further apart. So let's start to move the club back, and we begin the swing. You're going to see that just in the early part of the backswing, how the arms on the left hand side are bending more and the elbows are pulling apart further. The greater the distance these elbows are getting apart, the more difficult it becomes to manage the swing radius. And we'll keep going all the way to the top, where we'll clearly see quite a difference in the lead arm flex. We've got 47 degrees of flex, which is quite significant, to 11 or 12 degrees of flex. And as I say, that lead arm isn't perfectly straight throughout the swing. The purpose of this video and the explanation and the education I want to give you is that the arms in the best golfers are, number one, straighter rather than more bent, and number two, the elbows are closer together rather than further apart. So we'll see that the difference here in the elbow span has also changed and increased in the poorest player on the left-hand side. Moving down towards impact, you're going to see how, again, the lead arm number starts to change, and as I get closer to impact and I work my way all the way to the ball here, you're going to see that as I hit the ball, in both of these pictures, the lead arm flex has gone from a few degrees flexed in the after swing to 0. That arm is dead straight. Okay, that would be ideal at impact, that lead arm nice and straight. And you'll notice the elbow span number, the distance the elbows are apart, has actually got smaller, or it's decreased from where it was at setup. That means my arms are actually squeezing together actively as I hit the ball. Conversely, our poorest player on the left-hand side here is about to top the ball, has got an enormous amount of flex in the lead arm. We've got 30 degrees of flex. Both arms are bent too much, and the distance that the elbows are apart has increased. Now this golfer can't reach the ground. They're going to top the ball, and that's a very familiar picture, and unfortunately far too familiar picture for so many of you. Finally, moving into the finish, the picture on the right that so many of you are looking for, that extended lead arm where the lead elbow remains 0 degrees flexed. It's basically dead straight, and the elbows continue to squeeze and stay together, holding on to that ball as I go. Very different to that left-hand picture, which may be far too familiar for many of you, that left arm collapsing, that chicken wing, and leading to the elbows pulling apart. Topping the golf ball is extremely likely with that follow through. So what we're trying to get through today is understanding the importance of the arms and the elbows and how we can manage those throughout the swing. Let's get back on the mat. Let me show you a couple of exercises that you can do, very simple, very easy, to start to improve this part of your swing. So hopefully the message is clear. Arms straight, elbows together. That's going to help you to manage the radius of your swing and improve your ball striking. But the reason so many of you are still not doing this very well is because you don't appreciate how much you have to try to consciously keep and squeeze your arms together. And in order to do that well, you need something in between your arms to help you and give you feedback. So there's a couple of options that you can use here in terms of placing an object between your forearms and then swinging and hitting the ball with that object in place. There are many different options out there for you in terms of placing an object between your arms and swinging your golf club. There are many golf-related training aids for this specific issue. Here's a couple of them that we use at GOLFTEC. This soft ball that I've already hit with that places and stays between your forearms. This is the structure ball from Watson Golf, which is designed for the same purpose. It actually has the shape of the forearms cut out, and it's a ball that you can hold between your arms. I've featured these things on the channel before, and related videos to this topic I'll place down in the description below. So if you want to check anything out, you can go and do that. But you need something between your arms. Let's use this ball for the purpose of this training aid, this exercise today. Place a ball between your forearms and have some tension, some pressure acting upon that ball and holding it in place. Then as you swing back, you're still trying to keep that ball in place. Many of you will find at some point during the backswing you can't keep the ball anymore. Your swing will stop prematurely, or you'll need to flex your arms, and that's when you'll drop the ball. That's a sign that your pivot and your body motion isn't where it needs to be, and that's going to require some help from your local golf professional to help you train your swing and improve your pivot. What I'm looking for today is for you guys to squeeze these forearms together, keep these elbows close, backswing, downswing, impact, and follow through. It's a pretty simple concept. It's easier to say, it's harder to do. Let's go ahead and hit one. I was practicing like this earlier, hitting a few balls, filming some content, and realized even for myself that my ball striking improves so much when I keep this ball between my arms. Again, I want to emphasize the squeezing of the arms, the active squeezing of the arms, the conscious squeezing of the arms. There's a tension there that many of you probably have never experienced, and for some of you, you're probably trying not to swing with any tension. And there can be a fine line here that we need to draw between being relaxed and able to swing with some freedom and some rhythm, and structured enough that we have the arms sufficiently straight in order to hit nice shots. What I would say to you just on that point before I finish up today would be that whilst my arms remain firm and straight, there's a tension in the arms throughout the swing. My arms are firm and tense, my wrists are still soft, so I'm able to create wrist hinge and create speed in my swing while retaining the firmness and the structure in the arms. This is specifically about elbows closer together and the squeezing of the arms, squeezing of the upper arms against the torso, squeezing of the forearms together, but retaining this freedom in my wrists to still have the ability to swing fast, create speed, and hit this ball a long way. So some ideas there around arm straight, radius management, and improved ball striking. If you can't do that at full speed, make sure you're taking things slowly to begin with and gradually build yourself up, and make sure you're using some form of feedback that you're holding between your arms as you do the drill. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, please do hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. Thank you for so many messages I've received in the last couple of months asking if I was okay and what was happening with the channel. Took a little bit of a break, but now we're back, and hopefully those videos will begin to hit your inbox very frequently. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit the bell so that you get a notification every single time a video is uploaded. If you've tried this drill or any of the training aids that I mentioned down in the description, get into the comments and let us know how you've got on. It's useful for me and also for other viewers to understand which of these training aids helps you to keep your arms straight and your elbows closest together. Get down in the comments and let me know. If you've tried this exercise and you're still struggling to keep the arms together and you're still dropping the ball, you're going to want to watch this video next. This one talks about the real reason your arms bend throughout the swing, and it's not what you think.